evening and welcome to the campus of UW-Whitewater. I'm your host Jack Harp, and alongside me today is Jack Eberhardt. We ask you to please excuse our momentary interruption of sports from your regular daily schedule. Today, we will be discussing everything college athletics. Let's get right into it. Professional sports like the NFL and Major League Baseball have expanded the regular season and playoffs in recent years, causing a lot of overlap in sports schedules. Are sports getting too long? Jack, what do you got?
As a fan perspective for the NFL, I enjoy the extra week of football. Seeing what each team's got by the end of the season is really awesome to watch. I also enjoy the playoffs, being longer and having an extra team getting the chance to prove why they belong in the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree, Jack. And as a fan perspective, it's definitely great. More football is always, I'll never argue with it personally. But if we think about it from the player's perspective, we need to think about their health and safety as well. Looking at the NFL in particular, of course, very physical sport, and now having the 18-week regular season, it leaves a lot of opportunities for players to get injured. We look at, this isn't the greatest example because the Eagles won the Super Bowl in 2017, but those 2017 Eagles had the 1 seed, and their first playoff game they had their backup quarterback Nick Foles due to the injury to Carson Wentz.
Yeah, I agree with that. Carson Wentz that season was on the pace to be the MVP, and as we add the extra week into the regular season, we do see more of those wear and tear injuries. And I guess from a player's perspective, it is definitely different from a fan's perspective.
Yeah, moving on to the NBA a little bit. Not as physical as football, of course, but still a very contact-heavy sport. We see players like LeBron James and Kawhi Leonard in recent years. They load manage in order to preserve themselves for the playoffs. Due to the NBA postseason format of 16 out of the 30 teams making the postseason. If you're a decent team, it's almost a guarantee that you're going to make the postseason. And for some of these star players, it's important for them to preserve their bodies. And guys like LeBron and Kawhi, their absence makes ticket prices go down and makes the overall sporting experience a little bit less for fans.
I agree with that. As the longer between games in the playoffs, as a fan perspective, it does really make it hard to pay attention to the games because now there's two days break between the finals games, so it does make it hard as a fan to keep going as long as the season lasts nowadays.
Yeah, and looking at the MLB postseason expansion in particular, we already have the NBA where more than half the teams make the postseason. With MLB as well, and really just any other league that chooses to expand the postseason, I think in harsh terms, we're rewarding mediocrity in a sort of ways. And you see, for example, teams that barely make the postseason, the Phillies this year, when they have to go against the 1 or 2 seed, it's really not even much of a spectacle.
I agree with that. The Phillies are playing the Cardinals right now, and I really don't think the Phillies stand a chance with the Cardinals. The Cardinals are a great team, and I really think the Cardinals are just going to, basically wipe the floor with the Phillies.
Yeah, absolutely. And so there's that argument there that even though for MLB in particular, even though we are seeing more baseball, how impactful is that baseball?
Yeah, I agree.
Next up, we'll talk about some upcoming and rather wacky college conference realignments. We'll be right back, so stay tuned for more on UWW-TV.
We'd love to show you what it's like to be a Warhawk.
Come on!
Don't miss out on your chance to be a Warhawk.
At UW-Whitewater.
You belong here!
UWW-TV has been an important part of the campus and community since 1980.
Not only providing on-air learning opportunities for broadcast journalists and electronic media production students,
but educating and entertaining our audiences with award-winning news, live sports coverage, original programming,
as well as dedicating a mission to developing creative collaborations throughout campus.
For more information, visit our website and like us on Facebook.
Check us out because you got to see what's on UWW-TV.
UW Whitewater Athletics, a relentless pursuit of excellence across 22 sports, powered by a tradition of success. 20 national championships, 17 since 2002. 61 individual national titles. 24 National Athletes of the Year. 616 All-Americans. 115 Conference Scholar Athletes of the Year. 1,500 community service hours annually. Be a part of the tradition and join the Warhawk family.
Here at UW Whitewater Intramural Sports, we have a motto: a sport for everyone and everyone in a sport.
Come on!
That's it anyways. Oh, she got that off. They're going to count it.
Had a blast. Always have fun at intramurals.
Every day we strive to go above and beyond that goal by providing healthy exercise, promoting leisure education, and giving students that competitive atmosphere they are looking for.
Yes! Yes!
It's exciting. Brings me back to those high school days with Friday Night Lights.
With our 25 different intramural sports offered, we guarantee that we have a sport for you. Go to our website and find your sport today.
All right, welcome back to Please Excuse Our Momentary Interruption of Sports from your regular daily schedule. College conferences have seen some shakeups in the past few seasons, such as UCLA and USC's plan to move to the Big Ten in 2024. Do you agree with conference realignments like this?
Personally, I do not agree with conference realignments like this. When I heard the news that those teams were going to be coming to the Big Ten, I was truly shocked, As a Big Ten fan of everything from football to wrestling to basketball, you think of a Big Ten conference as the Midwest region. So those two teams coming from out of California, moving to this Midwestern region conference it's truly a shock, and I don't really agree with it.
Yeah, as you said, it's a traditionally Midwestern dominated conference, and I think it's nice to kind of keep the conferences regional in a way and make sure that teams are able to make relatively moderate travel plans in order to play in those stadiums.
I agree. Going off that point, think of the student athletes that are traveling hours, like tens of hours, to go play conference games and going back. How would that impact them as students?
Yeah, and the Big Ten in particular, the Big Ten already has 14 teams, and it's called the Big Ten for a reason, right? It's not called the Big 14. And thinking about making that 16, me personally, as a very traditional sports viewer, sports enjoyer as a whole, and historically, that just doesn't sit right with me.
Yes, I agree. Another conference getting shaken up is the SEC. Texas and Oklahoma during the SEC. That is something that I was shooken up by when they were announced that they were going to be joining the SEC. At this point, it's just a big money thing, because Texas, the past couple of years have not really been the Texas they were 10 to 15 years ago. They got a taste last year going into Arkansas and losing. So I don't really think Texas and Oklahoma are going to be able to compete in the SEC.
Yeah, and you think about the SEC and the Big Ten in particular, ever since the advent of the modern college football playoffs, have kind of been the two conferences that really dominated it, other than Oklahoma in recent years representing the Big 12, of course, and Clemson representing the ACC. Those have kind of been the two sole representations from the quote-unquote smaller Power 5 schools. And thinking about Oklahoma moving to the SEC, USC and UCLA, also traditionally football powerhouses, moving to the Big Ten. At this point, we really are starting to move towards two conferences that really control the whole game.
Yeah, you got to think, in 10 years, will these smaller conferences such as the Sun Belt and the AAC be able to survive?
Yep, good points, Jack. Let's transition to a growing issue within contact sports. A trainer for the Miami Dolphins allowed Tua Tagovailoa to re-enter a game after suffering a head injury. This poses the question, should players have say in whether they can return to play following an injury?
I don't think they should have a say. I really think it should be up to the doctor of the team that evaluate the player, that if the player's good to return, they're good to return, but the player shouldn't have a say because they don't know about, especially with head injuries, they don't know all the specific things that the doctors know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these players aren't doctors, but more importantly, players from a young age are taught to shake it off, rub some dirt on it, and get back in the game. And in certain instances, such as Tua's, regarding serious head injuries, we saw the first head injury, and then the second one where he had to be put in an ambulance and brought to the hospital in Cincinnati. I mean, that could have been easily prevented had he been through proper protocol, in my opinion.
I agree. I think it was right that that doctor was fired, because after that one head injury, he got up stumbling, he couldn't even walk, and they said it was a back injury. And after the second one, being carted off the field and having to be medically transported to the hospital during the middle of a game, you just really got to be cautious of the head injuries in the NFL these days.
Yeah, and head injuries and NFL in particular, they don't go well together. The NFL has a bad history of head injuries, specifically relating to CTE, with the unfortunate circumstances of players such as Junior Seau and Aaron Hernandez taking their own lives. And later, when their brains were analyzed, they were both found to have CTE caused from the head trauma by playing football.
Yeah, in modern day NFL, they are trying to improve CTE. I know all 32 teams wear these Guardian shields, and technology has definitely come a long way in preventing these head injuries, such as new helmets and, really making it more safe for these players.
Yeah, and we know here in the United States, the NFL controls the entire sports world, obviously especially football, but the entire sports world in a major way. And they don't really have any sports competitors. Their main competitor, the main threat to their success is these head injuries. If parents suddenly decide they're not going to put their kids in football anymore due to the risk of head injuries. I mean, we saw a promising linebacker for the 49ers a few years ago by the name of Chris Borland. He retired at age 24, citing the concern of head injuries. So we're starting to slowly see players are starting to notice that playing in the NFL has a lot of impact on their futures.
Exactly, and as you see now, the Pro Bowl is going to a more less contact competition. They're doing flag football and competition throughout the week. So I guess now people are really starting to pick up that head injuries are a thing, and they need to do less and do more to prevent these head injuries.
Absolutely, thank you, Jack. Next, how much does cheating impact how we appreciate sports record holders? You're watching PEOMIOSFYRDS on UWW-TV.
flip them off. 91.7 WSUW, the Air. 91.7 is a student-run radio station serving the Whitewater area with a variety of original programs, live sports broadcasting, community events, and more. So turn us on 91.7 FM or stream us live at 917theedge.com.
Life is defined by moments. In those moments, student athletes at the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater shine. With world-class facilities and coaching staff, we set our Warhawk athletes up for success in the classroom, in the community, and in competition. Through our championship culture, we prepare you to make an impact in the future. Learn more about the Warhawk Athletics family at uwwsports.com.
As an Army ROTC cadet at Whitewater, you have the opportunity to develop into a great leader while learning and applying the Army values to your everyday life. Within ROTC, you have the chance to travel overseas in the CULP program to train with other militaries, attend many elite Army schools such as Airborne and Combat Diver, and you have the opportunity to attend conferences and guest lectures by some of the Army's top-ranking officers. Our Warhawk cadets participate in many extracurricular activities, Division III sports, Greek life, intramural sports, among many other team building and community service events. Being a cadet at Whitewater is more than just being part of the Army. It's also about being active members in our community and coming together to form a family atmosphere. Anyone who wants to be a part of something bigger than themselves while developing themselves professionally should consider UW Whitewater ROTC. To sign up for UW Whitewater ROTC, go to the 4th floor of McCutcheon Hall to room 417.
Welcome back to the show. Alongside Jack Eberhardt, I'm Jack Harp. Are sticky substances a big deal in baseball? Also, do cheaters really win?
Going off the sticky substances, I would say nowadays and this year, the umpires have definitely been cracking down on that. During each inning, they go out and check the players and their bodies for those sticky, spider attack and stuff like that. So I would say this year they've definitely been cracking down on it compared to last year.
Yeah, and I think it's important to note that ever since the MLB really tightened their standards, they really made sure that pitchers weren't using these sticky substances. We saw as soon as they implemented those rules, a lot of pitchers' ERAs went up, their spin rate went down, and their control went down, which in terms of fair competition is what you'd expect. However, the lack of control also led to a lot of baseballs heading towards batters' heads. And that's not really an MLB issue, that's more so an issue that these guys have been using sticky substances like that pretty much their entire careers. And so not having that, they really don't have the control that they used to.
Other issues and cheating in baseball particularly is the steroid era. With, you see guys like Mark McGwire, Barry Bonds not getting into the Hall of Fame because they use steroids. And nowadays, you see guys like Aaron Judge, who just broke the home run record in a season, being like one of the first guys who was clean to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. We see a lot of people consider Aaron Judge hitting his 60-second home run to be the real record due to Barry Bonds and Mark McGwire, their historical steroid use. However, it's important to note we see guys like Barry Bonds who He's the single-season home run leader as well as the career home run record holder. And guys like him and Roger Clemens, who's considered one of the best pitchers of all time, both of them aren't in the Hall of Fame and really don't have a great outlook to making the Hall of Fame due to their steroid use.
Personally, I think that Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame. Even though he did use steroids, many people today still consider him to be one of the best baseball players of all time.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not just the steroids and these foreign substances in sports. We also see the New England Patriots supposed to be one of the most highly regarded organizations in the NFL and maybe even in sports. We see the Spygate scandal from about a decade ago. We see the Bountygate scandal with the Saints, where their defensive coordinator was offering bonuses to players for knocking offensive players out of the game. And really, in my opinion, cheating in sports has been around for just about as long as sports as a whole.
I agree. Tom Brady, 6 rings, considered the GOAT of all time. I mean, I don't think there's any say that he doesn't get in the Hall of Fame. Even though he is part of the Deflategate that happened in the AFC Championship. So I don't know what the whole issue is with, Tom Brady.
Yeah, being part of both Deflategate and Spygate really affects his legacy. However, it seems to be something that people have moved on from. When we come back, we'll present our final thoughts for this week's episode. Stay tuned.
What does it mean to be a Warhawk?
It means allowing myself to dream big and think outside the box.
Pushing the limits of what I think is possible.
Seeing ideas through from start to finish.
Collaborating with professors and peers.
And seizing opportunities in the community to put my knowledge to use.
I'm studying abroad,
learning another language,
and listening to the stories of others.
I'm making lifelong friends and fearlessly sharing my gifts with the world.
As a Warhawk, I stay balanced,
take great care of myself,
and get out of my comfort zone.
I refuse to let the past determine my future.
And I'm taking confident steps in the direction of my dreams.
Sometimes it doesn't make sense.
And other times it couldn't be more exciting.
But I will keep my goals in mind
and never quit.
Because
that's the Warhawk way.
Matt checking in to see how Sam is doing on his project. And it's getting close to exporting now, the final step in the process. And it is complete, and Sam is hyped. Finally gets complete and spikes the ball into the end zone. Sam's celebrating with his colleagues, and they throw a flag on the play. The ref's going to call excessive celebration. Sam is in disbelief and can't believe it. He tries to dispute the call, but the ref is not having any of it.
UW Whitewater Athletics, a relentless pursuit of excellence across 22 sports, powered by a tradition of success. 20 national championships, 17 since 2002. 61 individual national titles. 24 National Athletes of the Year. 616 All-Americans. 115 Conference Scholar Athletes of the Year. 1,500 community service hours annually. Be a part of the tradition and join the Warhawk family.
Welcome back to PEOMIOSFYRDS. Let's wrap it up by talking about our final thoughts from today's episode.
Going off the time to talk about baseball and the expansion of the regular season, I want to give a special shout out to Albert Pujols for passing Babe Ruth in most RBIs of all time and hitting his 702nd career home run. Congrats, Albert.
Yeah, absolutely. Great milestone for Albert Pujols there. Talking about the MLB postseason expansion, as we've already touched on, the Cardinals playing the Phillies in the first round. Because of the Phillies making the playoffs, there's not, in my opinion, we'll see if I'm wrong or not, but there doesn't seem to be a lot of competition there in that first round.
I agree. I mean, being a Cardinals fan, I'm a little bit biased, I would say, but I feel like the Cardinals will wipe it forward with the Phillies.
Thank you, Jack. That will do it for us here tonight. Thank you for watching, and tune in next time to hear more about hot takes from all around the world of sports. This has been Please Excuse Our Momentary Interruption of Sports from your regular daily schedule on UWW-TV.